Albertans are still feeling the fallout of Monday's election, and boy, not exactly the happiest group of people. Mostly because you take a look at the results, man, and we're getting the short end of the stick, and people are very much waking up to that reality. This isn't a new phenomenon, by the way. This is something that has been happening not for years, but for decades. Okay, going back, and yeah, especially during my lifetime. Okay, Alberta has definitely it's been shouldering the economic burden of this once great nation for a very long time. And there was a point, even when we did have, like Jean Chrétien's Liberal Party, we got a certain amount of respect, okay? We had our dignity. But before that, funny how this tends to happen, but in the late 70s, early 80s, when you had another Trudeau in office, yeah, Alberta was very much getting screwed then. So yeah, when we had our first oil boom all the way through till our second, and now that we're ostensibly, with us, northern BC and Saskatchewan shouldering this gigantic economic burden, yeah, there's no representation, there's no respect. It's just simply, this is basically the message that we get out of the eastern half of the provinces, okay? The ones that overwhelmingly vote for the Liberal Party, okay? Territories notwithstanding, because when you're ostensibly beholden to the federal government for funding, you're just going to go ahead and vote for the idiots that continue to stuff your coffers. But this is if you thought the conservative liberal divide was bad in the States, look at this, 92%, 93% representation in Alberta and Saskatchewan, 50-50 in BC, and it looks even worse when you just simply take a look at the province and you realize that, holy shit, like 95% of the landmass of BC voted conservative. They're the productive part, okay? Either through tourism in the southern half or through natural resource production in the north, and then Alberta, full stop, right? Like there's one NDP riding and one Liberal riding. Yeah, it's a conservative province. And Saskatchewan, yeah, one Liberal representative. The rest of it fully conservative. Meanwhile, hey, you take a look at the Atlantic provinces. It's the exact same thing, flipped on its head. And if you want to fold in how many representatives Alberta and Saskatchewan have and compare it to Atlantic Canada, it ends up falling short. Being fair, of being representative. As Kirk Lubomoff points out, Canada's election results by province and how they voted by party. The unproductive maritime provinces who vote Liberal can get more seats and more say in Canada's most productive provinces in Western Canada who vote Conservative and pay their bills. This isn't democracy, it's a scam that needs to end. And yeah, it's very much the case. We got the charts and the facts and figures to really point it out, because look at this infograph, and we've talked about equalization payments before and how Alberta mostly shoulders the bill. Billions of dollars gets extracted from us. Saskatchewan pays, a significant amount as well. And then it ends up getting disseminated across the provinces that vote overwhelmingly Liberal. I wonder why this constantly ends up happening. And it wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't accept it. But if we had equal representation, in the aftermath of the election itself, what was it? 34. Alberta has 34 seats, and all of Atlantic Canada, that has a fifth of the population, yeah, they have 32 seats. Nearly 2 million people represented by 32 representatives, nearly 5 million people represented by 34 representatives. Make that one make sense. And it's even more egregious when it comes to Senate seats. Every single productive province, six senators. And Atlantic Canada, 30. Make that one make sense. Why do you think Albertans are so pissed off? Hey man, we can get mad at things for the way that we want them to be, or we could just simply reckon with the reality that it is. I'm not going to be one of those idiots that are out there saying, oh, there were like 90 people on the ballot for Pierre Poilievre, but okay, cool. Tell me how it was the Liberal Party of Canada representative that got voted. If people were just so thrown off by all of the names, how could they suss out the Liberal candidate, but they couldn't do it for Pierre? You just go ahead and make that one make sense. No, man, he's a fucking con artist. He's exactly who I thought he was. He's just as cringe as Trudeau. He's just as virtue signaling. And honestly, I think the more distance we put between his lost election And what's going to end up happening with the big central issue, it's going to make his fumble even more shocking, because to pull this up from the beginning of the year, right, when Trudeau stepped down and announced that, yeah, I'll be chilling around until March and I'll just appoint, just appoint Carney, who's just even worse than I am in a multitude of different areas. But hey, we'll just give you a new prime minister because, I don't know, fuck off. And I'm just going to go do, I don't know, gay things off in the corner. But the Conservative Party of Canada had a 46% approval rating. They were going to get 46% of the vote. The Liberals had a 20% approval rate. Bro, what are we doing? Biggest bag fumble of all time. But we know how the campaign ended up going. This became a one-issue election, and now that we have the exit polls starting to trickle out, it really does make sense how things ended up the way that they did. What was your defining issue of this election? Okay, 28% of respondents, affordability, and 26% leader best able to deal with Trump. We have to deal with Trump. You remember that clip that I showed on Tuesday of that silver-haired boomer saying, he shouldn't even be president of the United States. We have to deal with him. And because the biggest issue for a certain demographic, and in fact, the number one issue for the biggest voting bloc, a breakdown by age group right there. Okay, we'll just go ahead and make this one a little bit bigger for everybody in the back right there. But the Conservative Party of Canada ended up having a bigger lead with 18 to 54-year-olds. Okay, in the 18 to 34 age bracket, 9% more conservative, which I guess, okay, and if we had a much more stalwart and much more conservative party, I would be happy and optimistic about the future. Maybe we will be, okay? And if they want to hold true to their values, that's an awful good sign. 9 points ahead of the Liberals, okay? And then they're 7 points ahead in my generation, okay? You got your older millennials right there outpacing Liberals by 7 points. But then you get to the boomers. And they are 18 points more liberal. They fucking hate you. They are the most solipsistic, narcissistic group of people. And to just really drive it home, man, you remember this chart from Tuesday, 60%, okay? Even if you want to throw in the 45 to 59 age range, all of your boomers, all of your Gen Xers are all wanting to, we need to deal with Trump, okay? But to focus on that 55 plus group, okay, that 60 and over group that vote specifically with their interests and no eye to the future, making housing more affordable. Oh, I thought that was the biggest issue that was out there, but yeah, apparently that didn't end up making the cut. Making housing more affordable. I already have my house paid for. I already bought my house back in 1975 for $5,000. Yeah, I got mine. Who cares? Those kids, they just don't work hard enough. They need to just pull themselves. They just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and just, afford a $250,000 modular home. You just might be lucky to afford one of those one day. If you can actually get a job that isn't being subsidized by the government, so they can go ahead and hire a Filipino or a Jeet. You could just, hey man, if you can manage to get that and you can squabble together some money, you might be able to get a down payment on some fucking row housing. Grow the economy, making Canada a better place to live. Boomers don't give a shit, because by the time that shit hits the fan, they're all going to be fucking dead, and I can't wait for it. In Minecraft, I guess. But dealing with Donald Trump, right? Oh my God, we need to go ahead. We need to make sure that, he's dealt with, right? We're voting for the guy who's going to handle Donald Trump the best. Well, guess what? Spoiler alert, you got played. Listen to this.
Yeah, and yesterday he spoke about American betrayal. Are you interested in rebuilding relations with Canada? And if so, how?
No, well, I think we're going to have a great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, "Let's make a deal." He was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won.
Oh shit. He called me up after, he said during his acceptance speech, victory speech, whatever the hell you want to call it, his, when he's not doing goofy ass fucking calisthenics out there in the crowd. He said, we're going to be hard on the United States. We need to really take it to Trump. We're not going to bend over. And then the moment that he puts down the microphone, he's on the phone. Hey, can we just go ahead and, get this all dealt with here real quickly, because we're actually hurting. We don't really have any leverage. So can you kind of be nice on us? All right. It'll be nice. Whatever you want, Mr. Trump. just please don't tariff any of our stuff, because I know I'm trying to tank the economy with my climate initiative, and I really just want to have this, tiered carbon tax so we could just bone Alberta and the West as hard as humanly possible. But please, 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 please don't put a pinch on Ontario. We really need this to work out. God damn it, man. You people are fucking stupid. You get exactly what you voted for. You fell for it again, and now we all got to pay for it.
I actually think the Conservative hated me much more than the so-called Liberal. He's pretty.
I mean, you just listen to the campaign speeches from Pierre, and it sounded like the Liberal Party with extra steps. Why was anybody in that guy's corner? It made no sense to me.
Liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. Couldn't have been nicer.
Oh, wow.
And I congratulated him. It was a very mixed signal, because it's almost even, which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race. But he's a very nice gentleman, and he's going to come to the White House very shortly.
Oh no, but he was gonna. But Carney, he navigated the country through through 2008. No, that was Stephen Harper and the actual Conservative Party. No. He said he was gonna be mean to the Orange Man, and the Orange Man's bad. You got fucking played, you dumb cocksucking boomers. Fucking stupid idiots. Once again, man, you got to take a vision test to drive. You should also take a reading comprehension test to fucking vote. So that's why Alberta is going to be getting the fuck up out of here. Ottawa is risking blackouts, higher bills, and safety of every Albertan with their radical net zero power scheme. Their agenda could drive up electricity costs by 35% and leave families in the dark when they need their heat or air conditioning the most. Which, yeah, okay, like I'm looking at the long-term forecast, and I won't be out and about in the, city here until tomorrow, day of recording, so I will have already been out there. But I've seen some posts of people saying that their gas prices have already gone up. I can't confirm. I guess I could look at like Gas Buddy or something like that if I really wanted to look, but I'll see tomorrow what things are looking like. But the temperature, I mean, good thing you don't really need to run the air conditioner that much, mostly because it's going to be mild as hell starting off May. But outside of that, man, like, it's kind of crazy, right, in Alberta, where in the winter, especially this past winter, brother, you would definitely need it for long stretches of time. To begin this year in January, fuck, it was cold. Fuck, it was cold, man. Just long stretches, weeks and weeks, like minus 30 every day, every goddamn day for like 2 weeks. It was the most depressing shit I have ever been through, okay? And in recent years, yeah, we'd have long stretches. We'd like have a week of 40, touching 50. But this time, this winter, man, like if it wasn't raining in the middle of December, well, that happened. If it wasn't an icy hellscape, yeah, it was just freezing you out. And to kick off this spring, early summer period, just the mundanity of mid-teens. But hey, even still, like January and July, like in recent years, okay? I think last year, Christ, like we had a spat of 40 above. Like Alberta's wild, okay? You'll touch minus 40, you could hit plus 40. They're on some smoke from the forest fires out there, and it just gets absolutely bonkers. So yeah, we're eventually gonna need heat. That's a guarantee. Will we need air conditioning? Necessarily no. There's not too many houses that, come with it installed off rip, and if they do, they're in the $1 million club. I wish I was joking, but Alberta will not comply. Yay, we're taking this fight to the courts and standing firm against Ottawa's unconstitutional overreach. The lawsuits have begun. We will protect our grid, our economy, and our future. This is why, man, Danielle Smith, she is even more so than Trump, because he's been doing some funky stuff. Like, she is my favorite elected politician in the world right now, okay? Like, it's not even close. Like, Milei, okay, down there in Argentina, I know a lot of people were singing his praises when he was first elected, but he's got a few different very strong alliances that I'm not necessarily a big fan of. And Bukele, I wish I just knew more about him, because he does really much, he does resemble a used car salesman quite a bit, and he could be based as all hell. It's just, I don't really know enough. But my premier, like, she's pretty awesome, man, and she's not like Giorgia Meloni. It's like, I'm going to be a hard right-wing, oh my god, I just love conservative stances, and then, oh yeah, immigration, come on in, boys. No. Danielle Smith, pretty fucking based. Which is why, if CBC's fear-mongering is to go on, Danielle Smith's reform is nudging Albertan separation vote from if towards when, yep, United Conservative Party bill slashes total signatures needed to force a referendum. Activists were already planning, which, yeah, okay. I mean, literally, if Alberta goes, if it becomes an independent country, if it forms a union, if it becomes the 51st state, which honestly I would love, but independence away from the over-dependency of Canada, that's what I'd love more than anything else, because we're getting raped, for better terminology. Like, that's exactly what's happening. And it's, no, this isn't a knee-jerk thing. This isn't like, this isn't the inverse of TDS where Orange Man bad, we have to flee. No. Alberta's been getting the short end of the stick for decades, and this is just simply the straw that broke the camel's back. And yeah, she moved down the requirement for signatures from 600,000, somewhere in on and around 600,000 to 177,000. And yeah, we talked about that before, and I said I'd be signing up for any official campaign that runs. Let's get it. Okay, you have my support on that one. And well, if this change.org petition is anything to go on, okay, and it's not going to be official, we got to get the official paperwork out there, but if this is anything to go on, I mean, just an off-brand site collecting some signatures, I mean, if they just get a few people out there, we got it. 202,000 people supporting a referendum to get up out here. Oh boy, it's going to get super spicy. And you know what? I'm down for it. Big moves coming out of Alberta. You bet your ass. It's going to be a fun summer, man. I can't wait. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.